more to the channel. The orientation on the screen, it was fighting me. Wanted to go horizontal, and it wouldn't. It locked it out of going live unless I changed the orientation on it. So it's Sunday evening. I'm in a truck stop I have gone by but never have stopped at, and this is the TA truck stop in Mineral Wells, maybe. I may have posted that wrong. West Virginia. So it's at the exit 170 mile marker, just south of the Ohio line. And I got to deliver right at the West Virginia Ohio line in the morning. So this is fairly new truck stop, all new cement. I'm just looking around at the parking lot. Here, we'll take a look real quick. Been very impressed with this. As you can see, it's very bright out. I just got done dealing with black clouds and huge thunderstorms getting in here. So I wasn't sure, and then I said, man, that's just like, what is with the weather? Has been just total garbage every Sunday to get outside and do anything. I did the live stream last week. I think, was it? No, I sat outside and I put, my wife and I just shared a sunset in my chair in the back of the truck. I posted pictures on the community post over that. That's what I did. I think that was last Tuesday. So anyhow, I got home last Wednesday night. I had Thursday, Friday, Saturday off, so I just been pounding on getting things done around the house. Of course, you know, life doesn't stop, so house chores were facing me, and I got a detail in, so I did a full detail. Interior clean, ceramic coat, leather, carpet, and I did clay bar, one-step polishing, and a ceramic coat. Exterior, I got done about 11 o'clock last night, so I slept in some this morning. I got a later start today, but I didn't have to drive as much. My driving was only about 7-8 hours today. So anyhow, last week it's all been, everything's about tariffs, and will it affect you? You know, people are asking, you know, how's it going to affect me? How's it going to affect you? I don't care, but a lot of what is going to go up in price doesn't affect me and my purchasing power. But on the other hand, tariffs are putting the squeeze for industries to prosper and move forward in this country, business-wise. So I took notes today. So I've been listening to a lot of podcasts and just been taking notes on certain things. Most of this information is coming out of FreightWaves. So you can go to freightwaves.com or you can go to Overdrive. They're two good sources for the trucking industry. And logistically, FreightWaves covers everything from road, rail, sea, and air. And, you know, if it's coming in or going out, they cover it. And that is a telltale of what this country is doing going forward, doing anything. And I know the sun is really bright on my face here, and I've done everything I can to cut down the sun. There, maybe that's a little better. So imports have slowed down container ships coming into the ports. The two biggest ports volume-wise in this country is the city of Los Angeles ports and Long Beach. So right now, they are seeing, and they're predicting starting this coming week, starting tomorrow, and the weeks forward. Some are stating, economists and other people in logistics saying 35% drop in containers. Others out there, businesses and what have you, businessmen outside of economists that are probably more in touch, they're saying they're thinking more like 45% drop of freight coming in. So with that, 20% of trucking in this country relies on imports coming in off that off those container ships. So and with a 1% decline at the ports of volume coming through there, that right now they're saying through the Los Angeles and Long Beach ports, just a 1% drop will put 2,800 workers out of jobs because of the lack of that volume coming in. That's a good hit right there in that immediate area. So that's one thing. What do I want to say? Tariffs. So with companies hurting right now, and you go back the last 2 years, and if you Google how many companies have gone out of business, trucking companies, small business trucking companies, and it's over 100,000. So with that, it's shriveling up the smaller, but the mega carriers are still, they still have the leverage, they have the capital, they have the volume of trucks to cover loads out there, even if the loads pay shit cheap rates. So I've heard a lot of guys saying that with that, don't, a few people in comments through a lot of these podcasts have said, hey, I've had to park my truck and shut down my authority. Your authority is your MC numbers, your USDOT, to be your sole carrier business to haul freight on the U.S. highways. And a lot of them can't make it, so they're like, hey, I'm shutting down my truck, parking it, gonna sell my truck, what have you. They said it's such a hard struggle to make it in these downturns in the low freight, the low rates of freight. So one guy made a good statement. He goes, guy goes, I should just go, I'm gonna go work for one of these mega carriers. Another guy replied, go look at private fleets. Now remember, I am doing well for now. Who knows what the future may entice with the tariffs and the slowdown, but one of the products I do carry is full 100% American made right here. So that makes up a lot of my hauling. Like 90% of my hauling is American freight, American made here, 100%. It's not like the components are made overseas, shipped here and assembled here. It's all made here, start to finish. So I'm in a pretty good position. With that, this gentleman said, look at private fleets. Now, I'm in a private fleet. We don't do any outsourcing of backhauls or pulling other people's freight. We usually haul backhaul wise internally to bring product back to where we are based out of. Private fleets such as Walmart, Ashley Furniture, Hobby Lobby, Sherwin-Williams, DOT Foods, small private fleets where companies like you see Walmart, and I see where I go, I do a lot of home good stuff. I see Ashley Furniture. They're paying their drivers well. They're giving them brand new trucks. They're company drivers, but they're all integrated within, so they're not a third party looking to haul freight. Now, I can bump a dock and see third party, excuse me a second, there will be a third party carrier hauling product in similar to what I'm doing. And the thing about my customers is, like with that company, when I order from them to get that product, I never know who I'm going to get for a driver. It's never the same driver twice. It's never the same. Most of the time, it's if the mega carrier bids the contract may be 6 months or a year, and then they may be out, and they have a hard time dealing with them, especially any damaged freight and all that stuff. So keep that in mind if you're going to pivot out of being an owner op and or a mega carrier to look at a private fleet. Walmart pays well. Um, and I know Ashley does. I'm not sure with Hobby Lobby, and I see Hobby Lobby, I see Sherwin-Williams. Hey, it's most of these private fleets are paying 80, 90, 100,000 a year. Uh, I had a guy tell me, yeah, I can go haul locally refrigerated for 70, 75,000. I said, dude, I'm not gonna go sit on refrigerated freight. 70, 75,000 to me anymore is stepping back 10 years in my trucking life. It's like, I'm not doing that. That's yesterday's pay. You got to think forward. You got to be a forward thinker going forward, and looking ahead and staying ahead of inflation. So just keep that in mind, folks. If you're in the trucking industry and you're looking to pivot and maybe get out of what you're doing, or the company you're with, to look into that source. I'm prospering, doing well. I'm ahead of the curve. I'm ahead of inflation. I'm not flexing. I don't come in here to ever boast. I asked my wife if I've ever come in here because I want to give a good shout out to a guy I think a lot of people should see coming up and growing, is Tommy at Trucking Unfiltered. He keeps a lot of these channels, these trucking channels, and I get to see what all these other that I don't really, I don't know they're out there in the YouTube world. But there's a lot of guys that really talk a big game and do a lot of flexing, and at the end of the day, they're talking out their ass with a lot of sailboat fuel, blowing a lot of hot air. So I really think that I want to stay humble. I want to stay true to what I say to you folks. I'm not here to boast, flex, or do anything. I'm just a guy out here that got laid off twice in a year when I left trucking to go into healthcare, thinking healthcare was going to be the end all be all fix to having a home life and making great money. And instead I stepped back in my pay. My last year in healthcare, I never saw a 40-hour check because I was only doing 30 hours. Then it came down to hours cut, to getting laid off, to pivoting into sports rehab, and that lasting 10 months. And I had to fall back on my CDL to pick me back up out of a financial hole and get me where I'm at today. I don't want to do this forever. I never intended to make trucking my full career, but it has bailed me out of a situation. And I think you need to look at that too. And I think Tommy and I are on the same page. Is do what you got to do to get leveraged up, but also have an exit strategy at some point in life so you don't wreck yourself physically and mentally out here. And over the road will kill your body and your mentality. If take a local job. And I've told a lot of guys that, what's the good pay? And I said, take a local job, take a local LTL job. S.E.E is a good company to work with. S.E.E. Look at a lot of those LTLs. You're home every day, and you usually got weekends off. If you want to pick up some overtime, most of them pay by the hour. If you want to pick up overtime, work the weekends and do some line haul stuff from terminal to terminal. I mean, I've looked into it, and S.E.E wanted to hire me, but these guys gave me a little bit bump in pay and said, asked me to stay, so I did. But that was back in 2017. The other thing I don't like, and I've been stating this over and again, out here driving, and I think it's even gotten terribly bad in healthcare, is the government has put its cancerous roots into healthcare. When the Obamacare kicked in, they're dictating to healthcare workers, doctors, nurses, and all that, what they will and will not do. Because the government has intertwined these corporations like your health insurance companies and your pharmaceutical companies to go in and, dictate how medicine's going to be practiced. It's the same with trucking. The government and these agencies have intertwined in here to regulate and dictate to us when we can and can't drive, what we're going to do and not do. Take this in the thought. I, as a truck driver, have to do every 2 years a DOT physical. During that physical, I have to drop for a drug and alcohol screening. in between those 2 years of my having my med card, I am up for random drug and alcohol screening, and I've gone in a 6 month span. I've gotten called in for screening 3-4 times, and then I've gone over a year and not gotten one. So it all depends on the order in which they pull you out of. But you look at that and you wonder, why don't doctors and nurses have to do drug screenings every year, every other year, health assessment? I mean, look at some of these nurses. How do they come in and tell you that you're unhealthy, you need to lose weight? If you've had a triple bypass, I've seen this I worked in a cardiac center for 10 years. And then you got an obese nurse that is short of breath walking in your room telling you you're going to die of a heart attack if you don't change your ways and this and that. Yet they're the walking example of diabetes, high cholesterol, high blood pressure, and a heart attack. And why don't they have a health assessment and a random drug screening? Because I can tell you, I've seen a lot of drunken doctors and nurses wandering around doing rounds and just, working on patients. I think that needs to be a standard if you're going to work at that caliber of, work, any more than if you're an engineer out there designing or making stuff that is a safety structure for human beings, or if it's, food grade, or if it's, jet propulsion fuel for a damn airplane or something. Wouldn't you think you'd want that guy drug and alcohol tested so he doesn't screw up, and the next thing we pay the consequences as citizens and human beings of this world? So but we have to get tested because we're driving 80,000-pound bullets down the road. But everybody else in the white collar professions, they don't have to. Politicians don't have to get drug and alcohol screens. Just keep that in mind, because I've questioned it for many decades now. June 25th, that language proficiency kicks in. And here's the thing, is the FMCSA has gotten the green light by the White House, because before, and I took notes, in 2016, the Obama administration did a memorandum, if I said that right, basically stating on that to not put people that were lacking in English proficiency of, speaking or reading it out of service. So basically, look the other way, don't worry about it. People are questioning, well, isn't this already a law? Why is Trump putting this out there? Because these, now understand, the FMCSA, they create the rules, Congress puts them in the law. So the CVSA is your DOT officers. They're the third-party contractors for the FMCSA. They enforce the laws and or the rules. So now it's going to be hopefully a law going through Congress at some point. But where am I at with my notes? So June 25th, now the CVSA has got the green light to put these people out of service. Before, if these people couldn't come in and speak, read, or write anything literacy in the English language, American English, they had to look the other way. They couldn't do anything other than maybe give them a ticket, but they couldn't put them out of service. Now they can put them out of service up to even impounding their vehicle, truck and trailer. They expect about 175,000 on the get-go as they kick that off. But a few drivers were concerned in comments, and the concern was, if I've been out here, like myself, I've been out here as a licensed driver since the 1980s, and what happens if I am illiterate and I didn't finish high school? Back in the 80s, you could drop out of high school, not get a GED, You could just get a chauffeur's license, jump in, and drive a truck without any form, with no more than an eighth grade education. Because farmers did it way back for hundreds of years. That was the American farmer thing. Was most of them never finished going through high school in the early 1900s. Like leading up into World War One and Two. American farmers, they worked the farm, and school was just a secondary thought. Uh, but many drivers have concerns over whether or not, if they are illiterate and they can't read and or write correctly the way. So what's the standards? Are they gonna stereotype it by ethnicity, or are they, like me? I'm pretty much fucking growing up blonde hair, blue eye German guy. So do I get the white privilege card pass, or are they going to be randomly just like everybody that gets pulled in, whether they look at me or if they look at Jihad next to me, that they're going to hand them the same pamphlet or book or whatever they're going to have to read or spell from, or whatever it is that they're going to use for testing. Are they going to have to, so these people are and it's like I said, there's always a loophole or a different side of the fence on that. Like, yeah, go get these illegals out of here, that are driving on our roads, and and I'm concerned about that. I have boistered my concerns, and that is, why would you want an illegal immigrant? Well, we should, these sanctuary cities, which I think is the biggest pile of shit in this country. And to me, it's like, hey, if Russia's going to drop a nuke, go for the big metropolitan cities, man. That's where they're all at. But for my taste, if these guys can't read, speak, or write the American language, you going to give them a hazmat load full of chemicals out of Dow Chemical, where I grew up? 1 mile from where I grew up is Dow Chemical City. And Dow Corning was right around, next to there. 3 mile round city, city within a city. You gonna throw them on a rail train full of hazardous chemicals going through a city that they don't even know what the frick they're hauling? If they can't even put the right placard signs on a tanker, or what else do they, a dry van or anything that they would be hauling hazardous chemicals or materials, whether they're caustic or if they're explosive, flammable, and we've already seen this with East Palestine with the train derailment and taking a whole city out. How do you handle that if it's an illegal immigrant that ran that train through the city and derailed it? So understand that this is important, that these people need to do this. Otherwise, well, we're being racist, fascist, misogynist people by wanting to deport or get these people out of our system. And shit, where was I going with that? I was on a roll. But if these folks can't work within our system and assimilate to our society, and they're going to harbinger these people, what happens when it becomes their family, them, the Democratic politician and his liberal family, that gets ass packed or ran over by an immigrant that can't read or write? Does that then constitute, good for me but not for thee? So then all of a sudden, oh, we're being too judgmental, and we're going to harbinger these people till they do harm to the people that are protecting them. Then when does it become, ooh, we should maybe reverse course on this and act maybe differently on the way we speak and think about this? Yeah, because now it's affecting you. But as long as it's only affecting me and us out here, piss on us. And like I said, I have never been a proponent of the United States government. I don't rely on them. I don't expect them to give me anything in return, because no matter how much tax money you can throw at that damn entity over there on the East Coast, these roads are still going to be effed up out here. They're going to, I'm better off trying to ram through 8-foot swells in an ocean through a forest of trees, is how bad this truck beats itself down the damn road. And I'm like, yeah, what tax dollars? There's no tax dollars hard at work in anything. They trickle a little. Here's a few crumbs out here of tax money to keep you peasants happy, while they're banking big money. Why is the roadways in Russia and China so more far superior, and all these other countries you would never think of? Because we don't reinvest in this country. We have thrown so much good money at bullshit and corrupted countries. I don't ever want to leave this country because I don't give a shit about going to Europe or going to South America or any of them, because you know what? Until we take care of this, I'm not going to go vacation or support any of those shit nuggets, or the people north of us that think less of us now. I just say, and every time I turn around, there's Canadian residents that are, that can't speak shit, like what we're already trying to deal with here. They're bringing freight over, and they can't speak, but they live up there. I don't know how they get by, because most of Canada is all English speaking, but yet here we are. They just widespread all the foreign drivers across their country. And I'm like, I won't support Canada. So say as you will, but I'm going to take care of my own backyard first, stay in my lane, take care of me and my family, and I can't go out and exert and press and work myself up over things I can't control. So I'm only going to just focus on the things I can control within my circle, within my bubble, and just make sure that my economy at home stays tip-top and ahead of everything that the government is throwing against us with inflation and the devaluation of the currency, whatever it may be, and the banking sector, as far as it doing bank runs and stealing your money and stuff like that. Like I said, I've parked my capital. I am slowly getting where I'm parking my capital outside of the banking system, and not in foreign banks, just not in any banking system on this planet. And it's just a way of just getting yourself unbanked and getting yourself positioned that I can make money, park my capital, put it in tax-free, pull it out tax-free, and arbitrage it into something that's going to be a bigger spread on a return. So that's the whole mantra of what I'm working at. And the 401k thing, even here, I just do the bare minimum. Whatever the company matches, I just put in, because I know when my time's done here, I'm just rolling that son of a bitch right over into a self-directed IRA, and I'll be able to arbitrage that money in and out into real estate investments. So that's, you've got to have a plan to always be going forward, and you got to be looking far enough ahead. I'm looking at least 20-25 years ahead right now in my stage of life. I'm 58. I'm looking at to position myself so I don't have to be that poor old man at fucking Walmart or Home Depot hobbling around because I didn't set my money up right, and that I have to still bring in a paycheck and maybe rely on the crumbs from Social Security and Medicare. So that's why I'm saying, folks, is trucking is not a long-term thing unless you're going to do it locally. Over the road like I'm doing, if you're out here, I've been going on 10 years. I want to say I'm over halfway there getting my shit together. And my boss probably knows it. The boss lady, she probably knows that, my time's coming near. I don't want to be doing this forever. The money's great. The benefits are great. The schedule is awesome. I don't have to be, driving at night, delivering at night, sleeping during the day. It's like when I did reefer, it's like your sleep schedule can be up and down, forward, backwards, and sideways. because of your delivery times can be 2 o'clock in the morning or it can be 2 o'clock in the afternoon. And Tommy knows it. I've been there. I've been from, the lower portion of Canada, Toronto, and that, all the way to Texas. I have done auto freight, I've done reefer, and I'll tell you what a pain in the ass it is. And the roads are getting worse, more traffic out there, more distracted driving. So therefore, it's just not gotten any safer and way more stressful. To the point I've really been backing down. Like, I'm driving under the speed limit by at least a mile an hour just to let traffic get by me anymore, because most of these guys that are racing through, not so much the Canadian guys, but all the immigrants or the foreign drivers, they're flying by me. And you know who they are. They're your Volvos and your Freightliner Cascadia guys driving like a bat out of hell down, through the roadways. And like I said, they don't know what they're looking at. They just, these speedometers, if they're coming from Canada, they're having to adjust from kilometers to miles per hour here. And most of these people that come from other countries, they're all in the metric system. So when they come here, they don't understand miles per hour to the kilometers. So they kind of wing it, going with the flow of traffic. But it's really crazy. A lot of them, I see them on their phones. I see them on, watching TV on their tablets. You can see when I go by and I can look in the drive, through that passenger mirror, and my tablet's high enough, they'd be able to see mine too, and mine just shows only my ELDs. But I listen to podcasts all day, but I set it up. I've told my wife, I know who's coming on at what time every part of the day, so it just dings me notification. All I do is just hit that notification, it pops on. But I don't know, it's a crazy world out there. And I see I've had a few people in on the live stream. What are your folks' thoughts on this? I'd like some feedback. I mean, I see it out here from different states, different truck stops, to different shipping and receiving loading docks, loading and unloading, and I'm hearing feedback from different parts of the country, what they think too, and they're pretty much 99% of them are on board with what I'm saying. Is they'd like to see a lot of these people just get the boot out, because they're difficult to deal with, even in the shipping and receiving docks. They tie up a lot of time because they can't understand directions, or their communication skills are so broken that they can't get it right. And it's frustrating them. So when I come in, they're juiced up and pissed off, and I'm like, hey, let's bring it down a notch, man. I'm just here to make a delivery. And they're like, so yeah, a lot of them will get on, argue with my customers. It's too difficult to back in your place. You're gonna have to go down the road and unload me down there. And they're just like, dude, the last guy, like me, that guy got in just fine. He goes, are you not a professional driver? And they'll just sit and argue. And I tell you, I've heard some crazy ass stories, and I think that'll be something for story time. Not so much affecting stuff that has affected me, but what customers have said of trucking companies that have come in and have dropped the ball trying to make deliveries. So anyhow, I've been going on 34 minutes. So any of you guys got anything to say out there before I cut this loose? So let me get you that FMCSA. It is get the first designators. Oh, stop it. It is stop. Where was it? Right there. It is Title 49 Code of Federal Regulations. It is 391.11 B as in boy 2. That is the CVSA North American Standard of Out of Service criteria. So that's the new law. You can read that. I've had it here. I've sat and read it at home. Basically, there is no set, like everyone, like not every DOT officer through the country is going to have a standard issued pamphlet that you're going to have to read from so you can just sit and recite from it. They could give you the National Enquirer magazine, they can give you a People magazine, they can give you the Bible, and they're going to say, read this to me. So it can be just a random thing of reading. So just so you know on that too, because that got brought up. And yeah, you don't want to have that so then everyone's got a copy of it and then they can just recite it front, down and back and forward and backwards. Yeah, give them random stuff to read. So, and anyhow, that's what's going on in the world of trucking for the time being. Should we see a slowdown? Right now, I'm busy. This week, 16 stops, 4 states. So, Liftgate's going to get a workout this week. I'm going to be busy. Hopefully, I get good weather. Today, it was overcast when I left. Got in the rain through Indiana and Ohio, but it has since dispersed off, and I've got nothing but blue skies and no clouds. So everything went northeast of me as it blew through. And my wife said pretty much the same way there back home in Grand Rapids, Michigan, is the weather was coming up from the south, so kind of a northeast pole going north. So anyhow, hopefully she's doing well, and I got to check in with her, how that weather passed through. But overall, folks, I appreciate being here in the channel. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe to help juice up the algorithm and get us pushed out there for more recommendations to watch. If I can get some other short videos like I did last week, if you haven't, go to our section on our channel on shorts. I did a quick, I had half a minute span of the Cumberland Gap where I could pull the truck off. It's I have to go from Grundy. I got to go all the way to Middlesboro. I'm going to be going through all the back mountain roads and I don't want to say it's going to be tomorrow. I want to say it may be Wednesday. I'm going to be out till Thursday night or Friday morning. So yeah, if I get a chance to pull off in any of those areas, I'll get some view of that, as long as it's not overcast and raining. I'd like to have a nice day like that. That was a beautiful morning seeing that. So anyhow, I appreciate y'all being here. Again, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And anything you want to discuss later on, I'd love to hear from it. We just want to just keep this channel right now is a hobby. When I'm out of driving and trucking is done, it says I got a comment. My moderator says I got a comment, but I don't see it, Laura. So, I don't know. Where's the comment, Laura? Wife just said, hey, there's a comment. Oh, Tommy. Reconnecting. Oh, I'm live. Oh. Yeah, jeez. Come on, you. Get in there. What happened to my screen? Did I turn it around? Come on, you. Hey, appreciate it, Tommy. Oh, what happened to my screen? It's showing black here. I don't know if it's forward, reversed, or what. Yeah. So anyhow, folks, I'm going to wrap it up here if you're still hearing me. I appreciate it. Thanks, Tommy, for dropping in. Enjoy watching your stuff at home, the wife and I. Stay true to yourself. Stay true to the industry, man. That's all we can do, and keep humble. Dude, one day we're going to connect when we get situated out there in the big town of Phoenix. We're looking short and near on that coming to fruition. So anyhow, folks, I'm going to cut this loose. I don't know. I lost my screen. It's showing black. I don't know what happened. So till next time, stay safe. Continue educating yourself. Knowledge is learned, not taught. And we will see you all in the next video.